just finished reading another book, Came the Mirror and Other Tales by Rumiko Takahashi. She is one of my favorite mangakas because she also writes Rama One Half, and I was introduced to Rama One Half when I was very, very young. This manga has a collection of 6 short stories. The first one is Came the Mirror, which is about this young girl that has a small mirror on her palm, and she was chosen by the universe to do kind of like ghost busting, but in a more spiritual way. So what happens is that she could see the darkness in people and they manifest into monsters, and what she does is she uses her mirror to take the monster out of that person and destroy them. So what happens is we end up seeing in the beginning that she actually gets killed, and then we move on to another young kid. He's about 16 years old. He ends up getting killed too by this like monster. Not a person that has a monster inside of them, but a monster. And then he wakes up 2 weeks before he had died. And the girl is there because she had screamed to him to run before he died. And he's like, wait, I know you. And she's like, yeah. So he has the mirror too. And she explains to him, like, people under the age of 18 are always get resurrected to finish their mission. Kind of like a child labor law or something. I don't know. So they have a few weeks to figure out how to kill this monster, because the monster is going to kill her and him. And then we find out that the monster is actually a teacher that was a sick person, and he would like record young girls, and then he ended up murdering a whole bunch of people. So they thought they got him, but it turned out that this guy's monster or darkness was so strong that it came back. So on the day that they're supposed to die, they get attacked again by the teacher. But he has no like human form anymore. He's just a monster. So they were fighting him, but there was too much. And the poor boy ends up like passing out. And he's like, oh my God, I'm dying, because his mirror was like cracking. So he wakes up at the hospital and the girl's with him. And he's like, what happened? What happened? And she's like, well, you passed out. And all these bypassers started getting mirrors on their hands, and they helped us destroy them. And after we destroyed all the little monsters, only his clothes was left because he had no longer any humanity. And look, the mirror's gone. And that's where it ends. And I was like, okay, this was a really cool short story. I really like that. The second one was called Revenge Doll, and it was okay, but the main character was kind of annoying. So the main character is this mangaka, and he had this popular like manga for years, but now it's down to 30, and he's kind of struggling to find inspiration for that story. And then one of his fans send him a little like doll that has 3 eyes, a big eye, a small eye, a middle size eye, and a small eye. It's on its forehead, right? So apparently if you take a marker and black out each of the eye, something happens. You black out the first eye, the person gets cursed. You black out the second eye, the person gets harmed. You black out the third eye, the person dies. And you have to say the person's name while you do it. So out of curiosity, he ends up cursing one of his assistants that he has a relationship with, and she gets a sty, so she has like an eye patch. And then he's like, okay, that worked because I was bored. And then he ends up cursing another assistant of his because I guess the assistant spoke back to him or something. So the guy got in a car accident, and he's like, oh my God, it works. His publicist comes, and his publicist is like, hey, yeah, your manga's down to 30 and we don't think we can do anything to save this. So he's like, okay, I'm gonna kill this guy. So he's trying to find the doll, but it turns out his assistant with the eye patch kept throwing it out, but every time you throw it away, it comes back. So he did have kind of a change of heart, so he would throw it away and it would come back, so he hid it. And then the assistant found out about the curse and stuff. So then he started a new manga, and he was feeling really happy, and he forgot about the doll. But then I guess the assistant with the eye patch made him mad, and he was like, I'm gonna kill you. So he grabbed the doll and he was gonna fill it in with black, but he took like the paint marker, the paintbrush from her, and like went across the face saying her name. But when he looked down, he noticed that he whited out the eyes instead of blacking out the eyes. And she's like, you're really gonna kill me? And then the doll ends up exploding. So then her sty goes away. The guy that got in an accident ends up getting better and coming back and working. And his manga that he decided to, the new manga he decided to work on is like super popular. It has an anime, it has a movie now, and he's happy. And I was like, okay, that was an okay story. Third story, Star Has 1,000 Faces. It was okay. It wasn't the best, but it was about a movie star, and she kind of runs away, and they were supposed to be doing the grand finale, like recording the grand finale and everything. She runs away because what happened was this guy drunkenly hit on her, and then he ended up falling down the stairs, and she's like, oh my god, I killed him, I have to run away. And she did. She ran to like this cute B&B by the sea, and then she has like, she covers her face with like a mask and like big glasses, but the son of the owner of the B&B recognizes her because she's his favorite actress, and they become friends. And then it's just kind of embarrassing because she tries to kill herself, just get edge of the thing, and she drank something like a medicine, but it turned out it was just a placebo, so nothing was gonna happen. And the son's like, well, are you okay? She's like, yeah. And she was about to throw herself off to the edge of this cliff, and he's like, well, when you're done, dinner's ready. So she goes to eat dinner, and she's all embarrassed, and then she keeps trying to commit suicide because she thinks she killed this guy and she's not like worthy enough. And then we find out that the guy is not actually dead, and he's a producer to the show. And then the lead actor is actually in love with the actress that tried to kill herself. And then something, like, it's really weird because she's in a room, and all of a sudden all these actors and cameras come in, and they're like, we need to finish the show. And you think she hallucinating. She wasn't. They actually found her. So then that story ended with them ending the show. It was a big grand finale, and then she ends up coming back years later when she's married to her actor, the lead actor in the last show. And then the guy that fell down the stairs that was trying to blackmail her is now the producer to her new show, and he's like, I'll forgive you. And she's like, okay. And that's how it ended. And I was like, it could have been better. Like, the guy could have actually died. The fourth short story was actually really, really good. I actually like this one. So it's about a young woman who had just recently got married, and she's at like a friend's house or something, and she notices this disgusting smell, and she's like, oh gross, what is that smell? So she sees this weird looking flower. Like on the table, and she's like, ew, is that what it is? It's disgusting. It smells like rotting flesh. Ew, ugh, you know. And her friends are like, oh, what's that lovely smell? What's that lovely smell? And they're all talking about this flower. And she's like, ew, it stinks. What are you talking about? So she pretends that she likes this smell. So throughout the story, you notice that all of these women are getting these flowers, and they're all saying it smells. And she's like, ew, it smells like, rotting. She's like, ew, it smells like rotting flesh. I don't like it. And then we find out that it's just random guy giving these flowers to these women. And he keeps leaving a flower for her. And she keeps throwing it away because, of course, it fucking stinks. She's like, ew, I'm not going to keep this. And every time she asks the ladies, hey, do you know who gave you this flower? They always name an actor, someone that's very handsome, one that they find attractive. So she ends up figuring out who this person is, and she goes to his house, and she sees a whole bunch of flowers, and he's there, and he's like, take my flower, fall in love with me. So it turns out this guy is actually a worker for her husband, and he's overseas right now, overlooking some factory or some scientific thing. And he had, the guy that was, stalking her has been in love with her, and he's been following her, and he developed the flower so she could smell it and fall in love with him, and she could leave her husband and be with him. And then what happened was the husband ended up coming and rescuing her somehow, and all the flowers ended up dying, and all the flowers ended up like just no longer being beautiful and just dying like so quickly. So we find out towards the end of the story that the reason why she smelled flesh and stuff, instead of falling for his plan and like thinking the flower smells beautiful, she was pregnant, and that's why she thought the flower smelled disgusting. And that's why everybody else was like, oh my god, it smells so good, and she's like, ew, gross, get it away from me. It was because she was pregnant. And the flower smell didn't work on her because her body and her hormones changed because of her pregnancy. And it was a really cute story. It was one of my favorite stories. I actually thought it was like well written, and I was like, this is actually a really, really good mystery short story. So the final story is called With Cat, and it was actually kind of cute. So it's about this young girl and this young boy, and they've known each other since they were kids. Something happened, and they stopped becoming friends because of the little boy. And the young girl has this really cute fat cat. Now, if you guys read Rumiko's mangas, you'll notice how she draws cats, and I absolutely love how she draws cats. Look at that. So what happens is years pass. So anyways, on with the story. Years pass and they the little girl and the little boy are now in high school, and they go to the same high school. And the parents are always like, oh, you guys used to be friends. You guys used to be friends. What happened? Like, why aren't you friends? So what happened is we find out the cat is very, very old. And the young girl was venting to her cat about how the boy is an idiot and how they used to be friends and she doesn't understand what happened. So the cat ends up attacking the young boy and dying. And because the cat died, his soul went into the boy. So the boy was acting like a cat. And then at one point, the boy ended up getting like a broken arm, so he had to have a cast. And then the cast ends up breaking, and you see the arm is a cat arm. And they're like, what the heck? And then we find out that the cat was trying to bring the two together because he knew that she was still in love with the boy, and the boy still had feelings for the girl. And they somehow managed to take the spirit out after spending like months together and slowly falling in love. And the spirit was finally like released. And then there's like this indication towards the end of the story that the cat spirit is still around, which is really cute. It was a very cute story, a little strange, but I love strange. And then the final story was actually like based off of real life, like the mangaka and her friend and how they got together or something like that. I really don't like reading life manga. Like if the manga is based off of real people's lives, I don't like reading that because I find it kind of weird. And it's just me. I know some people eat that stuff up, but I don't. I'm just like, I don't really want to read about this. But other than that, the book was actually really good. If I had to rate it, I would say a 4 out of 5 because there was only 2 stories that actually caught my attention and I actually found really fascinating. That was it. The flower, the cat, and then the mirror one is really good because I think that would have been better as an actual series, not a long series, just about a series. Yeah, so that is my thoughts on the book Came the Mirror and Other Tales, and I guess I'll see you guys later. Bye.